welcome everybody. My name's Jake LaVere out of Tarpon Springs. I have my assistant here, Jessica. We're going to be talking about shin splints, how to avoid and treat using the CLX and Kinesiology tape. Now, one of the big things that I see with shin splints, give you a scenario. You get first of the year, people get back into health, they want to increase their activity, they want to run, and so they start jogging, they start getting great results. And then a month and a half later, they start developing these pains in the shins. And what that is just repetitive micro stresses. And it develops into a structural issue. If that keeps going, then we're looking at a periosteal reaction and possibly a stress fracture. So it is important to understand how to treat, but it's also more important to understand how it occurred. So when we're looking at running itself or even walking, the biggest thing is symmetry and consistency. So when you're out training, training is actually accumulation of balance, timing, and coordination. And when that goes awry, then you put yourself in more of an injured state. If your inconsistency is off, then what will happen is there will be a muscle imbalance that occurs from aberrant movement patterns, and eventually you get this functional disconnect with your biomechanics. And so knowing that will give you a better idea of not just how to treat, but also how to prehab, which I think is not as sexy, but it is very, very, very important, and things that we need to focus on. So the first thing that I like to do when I look at a patient, they're coming in with possible shin splints or just any disconnect with the ankle and the calves and that whole area, is I want to look at their balance. So I'm going to take you through what I would do with a normal patient. And the first thing I want is I just want her to lift up one leg, doesn't matter which, and we're just going to hold that with arms up here. Good. And what I'm looking at is not just that she could balance, but I want to see where she keeps on moving her foot. If she likes the outside of the foot, the inside of the foot, the back, does she tilt back? Which way does she adjust? Okay, and then we're going to go to the other foot. Very nice. Now we got to understand that if she has shin splints on one side, that's just the first weak link. So if we fix that, then we don't change their function, then we're just moving the weak link to another area. And just because she has shin splints on the one side doesn't mean it's not developing or probably developing on the other side. So she might balance not so well on both sides. We need to find out, is it because she has a structural issue that's keeping her from staying up, or it's actually a proprioception issue that isn't allowing her to be consistent in her movements. So we're also going to lift one leg up, and this time when you're steady, we're going to close our eyes. And we can find that if we take a look at that ankle, we can see it really firing. And the beautiful thing about this is the test is the exercise is the test. And so this is something that I like to say, I want to put everybody in a 2-minute club. And so they could work on this on their own. Balance is the only thing that you can't overtrain. And so balance, what we're looking at is 3 components. It's visual acuity, which we're usually very strong with. It's a vestibular system, so where our head thinks it is in space, and then proprioception, where our body thinks it is in space. So with that being said, we want to try to get a minute with eyes open and then work on getting it with the eyes closed. And as they advance, then we could add some protubation or some instability onto the ground. And so we could increase their foundation through that where they never get bored, they could always train up. The next thing I want to do is I want to look at their foot strike. And I'm going to do this in a static way where I'm going to take them through every aspect of the gait. So we're going to start here, and I put together just a makeshift slant board where I'm going to have you come up. We'll start with the left foot. And I want you to just step right up, and you're going to put it in dorsiflexion. And once you have that, you're just going to kick up that right leg, and we're going to hold for 4 seconds. All right. There we go. Okay, we're going to do the same thing with the other side. That's kind of difficult for you. And with shin splints, you'll actually find that this is actually a little difficult on dorsiflexion. Okay, lift up and hold. Okay. Right on. And so all I'm doing is I'm diagnosing right now, so go ahead and drop down. And I want to see where she feels most comfortable and where she feels most off. So now we're going to plantar flexion. She's much more comfortable there than she was in dorsiflexion. Let's try the other foot. Good. Okay, the next what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into supination and pronation. So let's start with that left. And we're going into pronation, we're lifting up that foot. And if she wanted to, you could tell that she could do that all day long. So what I'm looking for is that foot really being bounced around and seeing where the function. Can the muscles play together well, or are they fighting each other? And see, that's very nice. All right, so now we're gonna start with that left foot. We're gonna do the last one, supination. And as you can see with the two TheraBand pads, this makes us very mobile. We could take this anywhere. I could test the whole athletic team with this, and I could give individual plans of what to do next. Good. Okay, so classically what I see is imbalance in supination and dorsiflexion, especially someone who's developed shin splints, especially with the anterior tibialis. And what we're looking at here is you have the different gait components, step length, single support, swing phase, stance phase. Where people get in trouble is their load response and pre-swing. Now this is the rotational component of the walk. And that motion is when that heel hits the ground and coming down, all right? And then supination is actually the push-off, which is the pre-swing. And you're gonna find that they're gonna be very inconsistent, and there's gonna be an asymmetry difference between the two. So I happen to use a system in my office that's able to look at objectively biomechanics down to 0.001%, so I got a chance to check this out. And with people with developing problems in those areas, they actually start losing that dorsiflexion control, so it almost is like a drop foot. And so what we have to do is we have to regain that control, and the way we do that is, first of all, if there's pain, we want to make sure we can get them out of pain, because people aren't going to exercise in pain, or they'll just put themselves in more of a risk because it's going to take them out of their timing, balance, and coordination. So that's where I use tape. So we could actually give some support, decrease the pain factor, but still keep them in their sport. The second thing what I want to do is if they could do anything very slowly and controlled, we could eventually pick up the pace. As we pick up the pace, it's going to increase the load. We never load at unstable foundation, so that's why we start slow in the clinic and we build up. So I'm going to first structurally support that shin and the tibialis anterior and the ankle, and then we're going to go through a few exercises. So I'm going to have you step right up here. Okay. See how this works. Right on. All right. And I'm just decently cut length. I always round the edges so that way it doesn't fray. And what I want to do is I want to protect that dorsiflexion, plantar flexion ankle, just to give us some support so we can gain a little more control. And the way we do that, first up, is I go about 50% across, give it a little support, and then I just come up that joint line and over. All right, and then once I get this locked down, I want to counterbalance it. We're going to go in plantar flexion, an E version. And I come up from the back heel here. And come right around and over. And as soon as I come up, I kind of ease up a little bit. I never put any tensions on the anchors because that'll help that fray and more irritation. So As soon as I get them past here, I let up, do about 25%, and then no stretch at the very end. All right. And then what we'll do is we'll come back up, and we'll try dorsiflexion again, because I always want to retest. And one more time. And it's still difficult. The nice thing is what we want to do is we want to do that with no pain. If we can get them out of pain but still do the exercise, now we got to teach the intrinsic muscles and the cooperating muscles to work together and to increase function. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to use the CLX, and we're actually going to work on a little bit of walking with control of that dorsiflexion. So we're going to start this one here. And I'm putting this consecutive loops around the deal. We're going to go back and grab that. There we go. And what I want to work on is I want to counterbalance that kinetic chain while we walk, put ourselves in a walking position, and decrease or increase the dorsiflexion control. So the way we're going to do that is what I like to call walk the line. This is a great exercise to gain balance, control, and a little bit of timing as we move forward. So the first movement with that left leg, you're going to come up and balance. All right. As you do that, this hand's going to go back. Okay. That hand's going to go forward. All right. And then as we go forward, we're going to drop. There we go. And you're slowly going to move down into a flat foot and then throw this leg up again. All right. There we go. All right, we're going to go to the other side here. So slowly, dorsiflexion, slowly down. All right, back up. And we're going to try to coordinate. What we're doing is we're coordinating this arm coming back as we go forward. Right, it's a little awkward at first. And then with this hand going back as we go forward. So here, down, there. All right, drop back. This is a little awkward here. With the shoes, you get a nice grab. So let me go ahead and take this off for me. All right. Okay, so basically my idea is with walking the line, what we want to do is we want to increase that control and timing. If we don't increase the consistency of our movement very slowly as we pick up the pace, there's eventually going to be a give and eventually a shake within that movement. So that's where you see people run for a mile, and about a mile and a half they start gaining pain. They don't understand why. So whole idea, timing, balance, coordination, and slowly maneuvering out of the structural component that they came in for and into a functional component where they could use with their everyday training. So thank you very much.